He asked the Director of National Intelligence and the Pentagon to present Congress an unclassified report by next month.
The countdown to disclosure, it's happening, and 60 Minutes just came out with an expose on the UFO phenomenon. I guess maybe now the world might start thinking about this subject matter a little differently, and that's a good thing. We're going to be going over some of the statements that were seen in this feature by the 60 Minutes crew as they speak with Marco Rubio and some of the people involved with the Nimitz and the pilots that had experiences with something that might be otherworldly.
I mean, some of my colleagues are very interested in this topic, and some kind of, giggle when you bring it up.
Will it be a laughing matter from here on out? Is our government taking this more seriously, or have they known about this all along? And this is just some kind of technique to maybe prepare us for something.
Until we get some answers. Maybe it has a very simple answer. Maybe it doesn't.
Will we get the answer? It seemed to me Marco Rubio seemed a little confused about maybe some of the classified information that he's receiving that we're not privy to, that there might be a mystery, and he might be a little concerned. He could kind of see it on his face. There were some interesting aspects in regards to eyewitness that has come forward for the first time, and I guess he felt compelled in regards to the subject matter, and she wanted to speak to 60 Minutes. We had Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, who said they witnessed something unsettling and unexplainable while flying over the Pacific Ocean November 2004. Fravor, who was also flying that day, is a graduate of the Top Gun Naval program, and he and Alex Dietrich experienced something quite strange. So again, like we said, the major media is in a frenzy right now. There is a lot of indication from sources that we've been speaking with that there is full pedal to the metal in regards to the subject matter. So get ready. There's going to be all kinds of talk on the major media, documentaries. Some major cable television companies are producing as we speak in regards to the subject matter. But again, I think their narrative is a little flawed. We keep seeing the same people over and over again in the old evidence. Some of the footage that was presented by 60 Minutes is quite old and nothing new. And unfortunately, we didn't get anything new except this new interview from Alex Dietrich. And that was kind of refreshing. She seemed very concerned and very reputable in her demeanor. We do have the guest panels joining us. We got Rich from GoofOn, who's going to be chiming in, along with my brother Brent. So I wanted to let everybody know we got a couple UFO videos that have just been submitted to us right here at Third Phase of Moon, permission granted. But Brent, the 60 Minutes interview, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited to share the new UFO video coming up out of California, a USO as a matter of fact. But today's interview on 60 Minutes was, again, a little disappointing. I did like how you said this new pilot Alex came forward, and she did have some descriptive words, especially in the overtime interview on 60 Minutes. You didn't see it on the main broadcast, but they did do a little clip with her, and it lasted for about 6 minutes between her and Fravor. But she kind of had this nice little way about her. She felt real. She just felt genuine. Let's just say that. I believe what she's saying, and what she witnessed is a big question. She said she felt a little kind of uncomfortable in regards to her plane, her fighter jet, not being armed with any defenses. It wasn't armed with missiles to kind of evade a situation if they're in a situation of an attack mode. She felt a little defenseless. That's why I'm thinking maybe this word of a threat, the terminology being used by the media, because of Alex's response and her feeling a little defenseless, creates this kind of military jerk reaction that everything that's happening could be a threat.
Yeah, that's the problem here. Right now, if there was a threat, you would have thought that they would have engaged it in a hostile manner. We're not getting any evidence of that. And if you were maybe from another solar system that had the technology, you might want to get up close and take a look at some of this stuff. But in my opinion, again, this could be technology. This meta propulsion is within a private corporation, and they're just testing their boundaries. And again, they don't really have to let anybody know what they're dealing with. Maybe there might be some new laws where they could reveal this to the public and maybe force some of these private corporations to come forward with the technology that they have within their assets. Let's take it out to Rich from Goof On. Rich, what's your thoughts?
Hey, thanks guys for asking me to comment on this 60 Minutes piece. You know, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if we were going to get any new information or what, but the first person that they talked to was Lou Elizondo, and you know they pumped up Lou, showing him in his his gear when he was in the army and everything, and showing that he's a patriot and everything else. And then they said how he formed with ATIP and how they did their due diligence trying to figure out what these objects are, and so on and so forth. And, not knowing what they are is a problem. And then they go to Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves was one of the pilots that, you've seen the videos, the 3 videos, the Gimbal, Go Fast, and Tic Tac, where he is heard, on the recording, whoa, that video. And he says he is very concerned because if these were our adversaries flying their ships out there watching us, it would be a completely different story. But because these things look a little different, nobody did anything about it. They just eventually took them for granted that they were there. They were there every day. He says somebody would see something like this over the last couple of years, 2 years, he says. And the interviewer, Bill, asks him, and, is that concerning to you? And he said, yeah, it's concerning to me because it is more like a threat assessment. If it's our adversaries, then they're watching us in training, and that's a problem. But obviously they knew it wasn't a problem, or else they would have made contact with them more than just the one time we know about with Fravor. Then they bring in David Fravor and Alex Dietrich. She's another pilot. This is her first time going public, talking about what she saw and what Fravor went after. And he spiraled down to go look at this Tic Tac hovering and acting very strangely above the water and in some white water. It was like a disturbance in the water. And and she's sitting there while David's telling his story, and she's nodding her head in agreement. And apparently it's true. It looks like they're telling the truth. There's nothing, wrong with the story. We all know it. And that's the thing. We all know this story. This is more like a reboot. It's more like a reboot to teach America what is going on, using 60 Minutes as the platform, as a more credible source than just your daily news, getting the same story out, that these objects are there, they're there a lot, and nobody's doing anything about it, and they're in the airspace that they shouldn't be, which I find very interesting. How would off-world vehicles, possibly controlled by aliens, know that they're in that kind of airspace? I guess if they've been watching for a long time, they would know. I guess that's true, but maybe they don't. They're just observing. And according to them, they think it's a tactical threat assessment, that they're getting data and watching the training missions, which to me doesn't make sense since it was in 2004. Here we are 17 years later, and Nothing has happened. No attack. Nobody got hurt by a UFO. So, I think it's just a reboot of everything just before the 180 days ends. They're just giving us a little booster shot to remind us of what the threat actually is. And that's it, guys.
Hey, Rich, appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. It is interesting. The same narrative over and over in the major media. But again, I have to say, at least it's kind of getting out there. And it seems that every avenue that we've been hearing, our sources, that this is just the beginning. They're seeing that there is a lot of interest in this phenomenon, this unknown. So that's what Third Phase of Moon's all about. And I think the major media is watching Third Phase of Moon very closely, because what we put out, they put it out on their news outlets 2 or 3 days later. So they know where the source is. We are the source for gaining the UFO information and bringing it to you as fast as possible. Now, let's get to this video that has just been submitted via Jaime Mozan out of Mexico. He wanted to share it with you right here at Third Phase of Moon. You may have not seen this. It's a crazy video off the coast of California, and we're looking at it right now. It's interesting. Remember, just yesterday, we were sharing some of the video that was released via the Omaha of this strange spherical object that disappeared off at the distance. Well, this is video captured in a regular spectrum, not any FLIR or anything like that, but definitely captured at night. The similarity of this orb and then this light underneath it, you can see it reflecting on the surface of the water, which is pretty cool. Could this be some kind of shipping vessel? A lot of people are asking, is this a ship, or is there something going on here that is unexplained? At the moment, it seems pretty interesting. It does seem like a bright light. It's a flare. I would have expected it to descend a lot quicker. Is it a ship? I'm not seeing any kind of hull of a ship. It seems quite large, and the people that filmed it, they don't know what they're capturing. Brent, what's your thoughts here?
Yeah, again, over there off the coast of California, it's just a activity. There's so much activity of UFO sightings. It's just off the hook, to say the least. We've been getting them for over a decade, and now we're seeing these kind of videos again. And this is almost more compelling, and I would even say more convincing than this recent videos from our government itself. This has these strange orbs underneath this object, whatever it is. Look how it reflects off the ocean. You could tell this is quite some distance from the sand, the beach itself. Could this just be an oil rig that's projecting some light off there? I'm not sure, but it showcases on the map where this is. And if you guys look at it, let's see if it's out there again a second time.
Yeah, if it's out there once, and if this is an oil rig, you would expect the same kind of phenomenon being captured, or, we could call it out. But at this moment, it seems quite large. And again, you can see the water and the undulations of the wave. You can make out that this craft, if it is indeed a craft, it's massive. It's pretty big. So we're asking questions. If anybody's seen this, anything like this in the past couple days off the coast of California, we'd like to see your UFO videos. Now, we're receiving videos from the East Coast coming in via people that are kind of scratching their heads. They've seen this weird glow, this green glow, this purple glow in the skies. Are saying, what the heck's going on? I received this video, and we have permission granted, and I want to share it with you. And I'm going to thank the person who allowed us to share it with you. It's pretty cool that people from around the world want to get the word out. So thanks, Dan's Pizza Corner, for allowing us to share it with you. And let's just watch the video real quick. This is what went down.
There it is. That's the rocket launch. Woo!
So what happened after the launch? Approximately 8 minutes, there was a release of some gases to create an atmosphere under perfect conditions so we could explore transport in space. It was a release of barium vapor that will create 2 green-violet clouds that could be seen for about 30 seconds, and it was witnessed across the East Coast. So we're receiving a lot of videos. People are kind of wondering what the heck's going on. So yeah, it was an experiment. The vapor will be released over 9 to 10 minutes after launch, and a lot of people saw it. It was over the Atlantic. Quite cool to see this. So if you guys were kind of like, wow, this is crazy, it was just a NASA rocket that was launching with its Kinetic X payload, this barium gas, to try and mimic the Aurora Borealis. I think they accomplished it, and they would have had to wait another maybe till next year if they weren't able to launch it at this window of time. It was being delayed over and over and over again, and it happened today, and we watched it live. And then immediately after, it's really cool when there's a celestial event or something that we're receiving these videos from the public, and that's what it's all about. You guys, the public, is locked on and have their eyes peeled laser tight to the subject matter. It's really cool. Everybody's ready to rock, and this is going to be an incredible year. We're working on the sequel to Countdown to Disclosure, the secret technology behind the Space Force, and the lineup of people involved in the field. It's growing, and we're starting to shoot it, and it's going to be a wild ride, and I'm sure we're going to get some information that the world hasn't seen yet. But we're going to see what happens in a month, and this Countdown to Disclosure over there in the Congress and the Senate, and politicians getting involved. Hopefully, just hopefully, there's something new. That's what we're looking for. Some really good, clear footage. That's what it's all about. Apparently, there's some footage out there that these pilots engaged, and they captured it on film of this Tic Tac or whatever it is within 50 feet of their jets, and they captured it crystal clear. Let's see that footage. I'm ready for that. Brent, any last words?
Yeah, I'm still wondering why the 60 Minutes interview and the Pentagon hasn't released this footage. You would have thought that Bill would have asked a question to Luis Elizondo, where's the rest of the footage? Why haven't they showcased the beginning of it and the end? We could have seen a lot more. They're just giving us this kind of small tidbits of something that's, we can't even explain what it is. It's still unrecognizable. It really doesn't explain too much. I would have liked more from the 60 Minutes interview if they would have brought more to the table, especially some new videos from the Pentagon.
I think 60 Minutes, if you're listening, or Fox News, CNN, reach out to us. We got the largest archive of UFO videos captured by the public in the world. If you're looking for answers or dealing with people, maybe not always necessarily with the military. How about police officers? How about firemen? How about, FBI agents? How about FAA pilots? How about physicists? How about a bunch of highly trained people within the field? It doesn't always have to be military. Fox, CNN, 60 Minutes, CBS. Hey, if you're listening, Third Phase of Moon is a source that you should be tapping into. You're talking to the same people over and over in the major media, and I'm not sure if the word's getting out the way it should. And you might want to hear other people's sides of the stories, a different narrative, besides being always a threat. That's just us. That's our kind of way of thinking over here. It's always fluid. So we'll see how things go. I appreciate everybody joining us, all the huge support in the chat. You guys rock over there. Get the word out. Get the word out. Third Phase of Moon is getting the information, and we're sharing it. Keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. And if you've captured anything amazing, my email is in the description. Upload your UFO video to YouTube. Copy, paste that link to my email. We'll take a look at your evidence. We'll see you next time.
I think it's terrifying. I mean, this seems potentially like one of the biggest stories of my lifetime. And I don't care if it's about UFOs or whatever you call it. Something that we don't understand is getting very close to our military aircraft.
The technologies related to energy generation should come out first.
This hybrid aerospace underwater craft is able to basically generate an electromagnetic field.
It is President Trump's belief that the United States must remain as dominant in space as we are on land and sea and the air. And your charge is to see to that mission with the United States Space Force.
There were 3 people on my team assassinated, and I was almost killed.
With a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
It's a matter of national security.
But apparently, just recovered are off-world vehicles not made on this Earth.
The president will respond to the subject the way they want them to. There's a black box with all the technologies that would give us a civilization that's sustainable, peaceful, etc., and that's been around for decades.
Everybody's asking the biggest question in the world. Are we alone?
Look, it's just stalled out there.
The narrative that's being launched, which is a false narrative, is that we're not alone and that those civilizations are a threat. The problem is that the public has to be informed and involved.
It could be a restatement saying, hallelujah, I'm finally vindicated.
I'm not completely convinced they're gonna let this stay like it is.
But the people who are surrounding that level of our politicians and government are not told. Like the movie Independence Day, where Will say, let's go kick alien butt.